morning, everybody. Patty Ann here. Hey, I'm pretty excited about today's video because it's going to help people who homeschool or maybe parents or grandparents if you want your children to start learning a little bit about history. What am I talking about? See behind me? It's the 50th anniversary for the Apollo landing on the moon. That was a historical event back in the day. So what I'm going to have you do today is I'm going to have you make little puppets, just kind of like what we did the other day, like this. But one's going to be Buzz Aldrin, one will be the Apollo 11 spaceship, one will be the moon, and I'm not sure what else. But as I said, I used to be a middle school teacher. And as a middle school teacher, I used to have moon rocks in my classroom. We only had them for a short time. I had to fill out so much paperwork to be able to get them. But it was pretty cool to have them because they had actually come from the moon. They were enclosed in like a really thick acrylic, so you couldn't touch them, couldn't get any breathing fumes off of them or anything like that. So but it was pretty cool to have them. Another thing I got once were some shuttle tiles from the space shuttles. I got some white ones and some black ones. They came directly from NASA and it was really cool. I did do something really dumb though. Shh, don't tell anybody. What my former students may not know. They're like ancient now. But anyway, what I did was I got these shuttle tiles. And I don't know if you know this, but they, of course, don't burn up upon re-entry into the atmosphere. And they should, because it gets really, really, really super duper hot. So they should burn up and just disintegrate, but they don't. So I thought, wow, that's really cool about these tiles. They don't even burn. And I thought it meant they didn't even get hot. So what I did was I took a blowtorch to mine in front of my class, of course, no less. And I took the blowtorch and I heated up those tiles. Then I touched them. OMG, they were so hot. It burned my finger. Here's the thing. They don't burn and disintegrate, but they do get burning, scalding hot upon re-entry into the atmosphere. Anyway, I learned my lesson. So anyway, I love science, and I'd love for you to be able to teach your children, your grandchildren, people you homeschool. Maybe you have a nursery school or something, or a kindergarten, or even first grade, and make some of these puppets where you can teach them about the moon landing, and then they can teach you. So follow me down to my desk, to my computer, and let's get started. Okay, the first thing that I did was I went to Google and I typed in astronaut. Then I came over here to tools and I typed in, or on the drop down menu where it said any type, I changed it to clip art, and then I changed the size to larger than the largest size. And there were plenty of these that showed up here, but I wasn't sure which ones were free for me to use and which ones weren't, so I started following some rabbit trails. And I eventually came to this page and I thought, well, this is really super cute. And it says dollar graphics. I thought maybe you get all of this for just $1. It's worth it. So I went there and I purchased it. Here's dollar graphics. And this is where I am right now. I haven't downloaded any of this yet so that you could see how I do it. I just grabbed it. So I'm going to download it. And there it is. It just downloaded as Neil Armstrong zip. Okay, now here it comes opened, and you know it's a zip file, so I have to extract it. And I'm going to extract it to my download folder to Neil Armstrong. And I'm going to click on it to open it, and here are all the pieces that I'd like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Silhouette Business Edition because I want to save these for my Cricut machine. So let's open the Silhouette. I'm going to come up here to File and Merge. And I'm going to come over here and get the very first one. I'll get the JPEG and I'll open that. And as you notice, it comes in with a box around it, which we don't want. We want him to cut out individually. So what we would do is come over here to the Trace panel, click on that, click on Select Trace Area, and then come over here and trace. So what I want to have a nice trace of him, so I'm going to move my threshold up a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. I'm going to trace and detach and see what happens. Because I'm going to use this as a print then cut. Okay, that is perfect, just like that. I'm going to leave him like that, and I can get rid of this part in the back. So, watch when I go over here to send it. You can see what's going to cut the outer edge of him, and that's exactly what we want. So let's go back to design, move him over here. Let's get the second thing. Let's go to File, File, Merge. And I'm going to get the JPEG of the moon. Let's say Open. And there's the moon. Now, of course, let's look and see what would happen if we didn't trace this first. Let's go to Send. And if I say cut outer edge, click on it and cut outer edge, look what it's going to cut. The square around the moon. And of course, that's not what we want. So we're going to go back to design and we're going to trace this. So I'm going to select the trace area, trace around it. And I'm going to zoom in to see if it looks like I've done a pretty good job. And yes, that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to say again, trace and detach. Because this is going to be a print then cut, so this is what's going to print and then cut, and I can get rid of this. Let's get the next thing. File, Merge, the stars. Okay, not sure how well these are going to do. Let's see. I just don't think that these are going to work out well because there's no way I could put all of this on one stick. So what I think I'll do is just get one star. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and get the eraser tool over here and erase these dots that are nearby because I don't want them. And I can get rid of this star too. And so then I can just go over here and trace this star. Select the trace area. And I missed it, but that's okay because I can just pull that up. There we go. And I'll just do again, trace and detach. So all I'm going to have is the star. Perfect. Delete. I think one or two more things. Let's merge. So the rocket. Open. I want to show you something. Let me close this one for a moment. This is the JPEG that I've opened. Let's go to File and Merge and the PNG image. Okay, notice there's no background on that. So you think, okay, that's perfect. I don't need to do anything with that. But let's go to Send and see what will happen here. Send. And if I click on it to highlight it and I say cut edge, it's still going to cut the shape of the square or the rectangle around it. That's not what we want. So again, what we need to do is we need to click on this to highlight it. Well, actually, we don't even need to do that. We just need to come over to the toast or the trace panel, click on it to open it, select the trace area, and trace. And let's zoom in to see how this looks. Looked like I had some openings, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to try to be coloring this. So that looks pretty good. So I'll do trace and detach again. So now I have the rocket and I can get rid of this bit behind it that I don't need. And let's go to File and Merge. And what do we have? We have his name. I'll just do it as the JPEG. Open. And Neil Armstrong happened to be the very first person on the moon. So that's kind of cool to have his name first. So we're going to select the trace area. Need to move this panel. Select this trace area. Now wait a minute. I don't think I want to do that for this one, right? Because I don't want each of these letters coming out separately. So let's forget about that. X out that. Let's see what's going to happen when we go over here to Send. And we highlight this and we say cut edge. Okay, it's going to cut that edge, which is exactly what we want, but it looks like it's awfully close to his name. So I think I will adjust that just a little bit. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to come over to the offset panel, and I'm going to offset, and I think I'll up it just a little bit, just willy-nilly, just picking a number. I think I'll just do it 0.2, whoops, 0.2, and I'll say apply, and I'm going to color it white. So now we have a border. Whoopsie, I need to do something else. Let's undo that. I need to group these. I right-clicked and I grouped. And now if we get back over here to send, it's going to cut and leave a border around there or an offset. So that's exactly what we want there. All right, so I think we have a pretty good little sampling of things we could use. A little concerned about the star. I think I'll make it bigger. And why not make the moon a little bit bigger as well? Let's see what size the rocket ship is. It's about 5 inches tall. That's good. And he's about a little, almost 5 inches. Okay, that's 7. Okay, this all looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get ready to print then cut it. So what I need to do is come back to my page setup, and I'm going to change my size of my page to 8.5 by 11 because that's my current printer. So now I can start putting these things on here, but before I do, I need to put on my registration marks so that I know where my print then cut will be. I'm going to put on my registration marks, type 1. Okay, there they are. I'm also going back to the very first part of the page setup, and I want to show the cut border. So that shows me where I have to have my things inside of that border. Let's start putting some things on here. Let's put Neil here, and the spaceship here, the moon. And maybe if we move this over, we can fit this on here. Oh, just barely. I think that's going to work, but I don't think the star will fit. I don't think it will. So why don't I just make it smaller a little bit for now and put one on there. We could have a smaller one like that. And I could adjust these however I want. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and send this to my printer. So I know all of these things are going to fit. As long as they're inside of those red lines, I'm good. So I'm going to print this, and then I will be back to show you how it's turning out. But in order to print it, I can come up here to File and Print. And I am going to choose my printer up here. I use an OfficeJet, an HP OfficeJet 4630 series. It's nothing special. I changed my preferences because I like it to use a matte, thicker matte paper. And I want my print quality to be best. So that's it. I'm going to send it over to my printer now. Okay, as you can see, I've already made a set of these, and I forgot to show you what it looked like after I printed it. So I've made a second set. So I will have one of these sets to give away if anybody wants it. I'll just drop them in the mail to you. Just leave me a comment down below, and I'll pick somebody at random to get these if you'd like them. They are going to be celebrating this anniversary for quite some time. I'll also include the sticks that you can glue onto them. But this is the way it looks like, or this is what it looks like, okay, when you first print it. Just like this, perfect. Notice that there are registration lines or marks. That's what my Cameo does. As you'll recall, your Cricut machine makes a full box the whole way around, and that's the light on our camera that goes around here to see where these marks are, and then that lets it know where to cut. Okay, the only thing I have an offset on is his name. So I'm going to put this on here. And on my Cameo, I have it set to, let me look, send, and I have it set to the auto blade to plain cardstock, but I did up the force to 22. I think it started at either 20 or 21, so I made the force 22 instead, and I got a very nice cut with that. So I'm going to cut this second one out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to give you just a couple other ideas for these. Of course, I could have done them out of sticker material, and kids could have put these onto things. I also could put magnets on the back. You can buy those strips of magnets that you could put just a piece of a magnet on the back of this, and then they could play with them on the refrigerator or the dishwasher. Or you could put felt or flannel on the back for flannel board little guys. The other thing is, I thought that really on here, you could have zoomed in and put your child's name right there. That would have been fun. Or maybe made two of them. Maybe one said Neil and one said your child's name, as if your child was going with Neil to the moon. So again, check below. I'll have some more links for you for some fun activities you could do with your kids for this historic anniversary. So if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and tell your friends. I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, so I appreciate everybody that you tell. I guess that's about it. Thanks again for joining me. Oh, I forgot. I said I would show you how to do the offset. So if I wanted to do the offset, let's say on Neil, I would bring him over onto my mat, although I don't really have to, but just so you can see better. And to get an offset on him so it doesn't cut right around him as it did in the samples I showed, you would just come over here to the little item that looks like a star. Click on that. That opens the offset panel. And then you just click on the word, well, you've got to highlight what you want to offset, and then click on the word offset. It automatically puts one right around him like that. You can say apply, or you could change the distance if you want it larger or smaller. I'll just leave it like it is and say apply. And then you can come up here and you can change that offset to any color you'd like. So I made it white. Oops, did it again, right? So I'm going to undo that, Control Z. And what I want to do is I want to group it together. Group. Okay, so now if we bring him over, let's see what happens when I say send. And right now it's set to cut both parts. Notice what it is up here. It says cut. So it's going to cut the inner and the outer part. If I just wanted to cut around the offset, I will say cut edge. And then notice it's just going to cut around the outer edge of him just like that. So that's it. Thanks again. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.